Welcome everyone to the PJ's Cast. I'm your host Pierce, alongside of my good pal Dylan. Well, we're past the Four Nations now. We're in the home stretch. Trade deadline is on Friday, 4 days away. Trades have already happened, including the Chicago Blackhawks and the Florida Panthers making a trade. Blackhawks sending Seth Jones to the Florida Panthers and a 2026 fourth round pick in exchange for Spencer Knight and a 2026 first round pick that's conditional that could slide to 2027 because the Panthers probably aren't done yet and might trade that first round pick. So, originally we were going to do a longer podcast, but we do have a Will Scouch interview lined up for tomorrow. So we'll do more, talking about the NHL in general tomorrow. We also are going to do our annual trades we'd like to see, but mainly in this podcast, we're going to talk about the trade that transpired because I think both of us have a lot of thoughts. So do you want to lead this one off or do you want me to get into it?
Fire away.
All right. So well, at this point, still less than 2 weeks ago now, Seth Jones said that he was open to being traded. And I thought, okay, well, with the trade deadline being less than like 2 weeks away or like 2 weeks away or whatever, I was saying, okay, probably not going to happen before March 7th, but there is a good likelihood that it could happen in the off season, especially with the cap going up. There's probably more teams that would be willing to trade for Seth Jones, and you got more teams out there with more flexibility. But then there was that Utah game where they lost 2-1, but if you look at all the metrics, they were outshot, outchanced to high hell, and really shouldn't have been 2-1. The only reason they were in that game was Arvid Soderblom as many times this year, and then Seth Jones comes out and says, "Oh, this is pathetic effort. We've been the same team, like we were right where we were when we started the season," and he wasn't wrong about that, but um, that's when all the urgency must have hit Kyle Davidson. From everything we've heard, team didn't like that. I would assume the players didn't like that, the coaching or up to Kyle Davidson. Um, it would be one thing, if he was in this for the long haul and it's kind of a wake up call, but kind of just feels like someone being like, "Oh, here's my 2 weeks notice. He's a guy that's gonna leave. I can say whatever I want now," and kind of just felt like parting shots. And then a couple days ago on Saturday, we were originally gonna record, but we didn't that day. And I was gonna go. I went out with some friends, and right before I headed out, got the notification on my phone from Elliot Freeman. "Oh, Florida Panthers are discussing a trade with Seth Jones," and then like a few minutes later, they announced a trade. Florida Panthers get Seth Jones, fourth round pick, and then the Blackhawks get Spencer Knight and first round pick 2026 2027. Doesn't matter, it's still a first round pick. You can use that as currency to get what you want, but there it is. Seth Jones is gone. I didn't think that was going to happen, but seeing all the reactions from this trade just makes me realize like the biggest thing about Seth Jones is everyone's perception about him. Like in 2017-18, Seth Jones was, I think, 23, 24 years old. He was leading the charge of that Columbus team that made it back to the playoffs. I think he finished fourth in Norris voting and had almost 60 points. And it was like, okay, we've got, Seth Jones could be one of the best defensemen coming up. Like, not even looking at the points, but you look at, right-handed defenseman, 6'4", can skate, can eat a lot of minutes. And I feel if that trade was made in the first place in 2018 as opposed to 2021, I feel like Hawks fans would look a lot more favorably on the trade. And even in 2020, there was a big thing, that game in the bubble where he played like 65 minutes with that game that went to 5 overtimes. And I feel like a lot of like old school people that watch the game or have like an old school mindset and don't really take into consideration analytics, or like, "Oh, Seth Jones, he's this number one minutes eating defenseman who you can put on in any situation and he'll excel." And then that short 2021 season happened, and I feel like that's just ruined his reputation forever. It's either you view Seth Jones as the 2018 defenseman, or you view him as the 2021 defenseman. And in that summer, Stan Bowman in that regime thought he was the 2018 defenseman, essentially mortgaged the future and signed him to a $76 million 8-year contract. And Blackhawks, for a multitude of reasons, like that team, like going into 21-22, that team could have made the playoffs or at the very least battle for a wild card spot, but it didn't work out today. There were internal factors as well as external factors that didn't allow that to happen. And then you get new regime in, guy who didn't trade for you, didn't give you that contract, and you go a few years with everything being ripped down the stud. Yeah, it's no wonder Seth Jones wanted out. And yeah, I still got so many more thoughts. I don't want to keep rambling on. I want to hear what you think about
it. Well, hit the nail on the head with a lot of that. Will continue to say it till the cows come home. Even in 2021, this trade made 0 sense for either side, and Seth made this one of his destinations because he wanted to contend. And I just find it very funny because the other two teams he wanted to go to were Dallas and Colorado, who are both perennial contenders. So I don't really know where his frame of judgment's coming from. So, to see that interview today, that's just like, this isn't what I expected when I signed up. All you're telling me is that you're an idiot. That's all you're telling me. All you're telling me is you lack critical thinking
money
skills.
Talks.
I don't even care if money talks. You just lack critical thinking at that point, honestly. Oh, a team with their best players being past 33 years old is not going to be good in 3 years? Oh, my God. This is news to me, guys. Holy shit. You're an idiot. Oh, my God. You're an idiot. And you know what? You could sit in the corner, take your ball, go home, cry, not do anything to help this team get better. I think it's hilarious how it took till him basically requesting a trade on the night of the biggest game hockey's had in the last God knows how long. You're a loser. You're a loser. You should have never had an A on your chest. The fact that you even wanted to be a captain is hilarious to me because you don't have half of the leadership qualities for that. This goes back years, but we'll just go off of this year. You didn't fucking answer any questions after the team got thumped in the Winter Classic. Most leaders would normally answer questions for that. Time after time, your play has taken a substantial dip. I really don't care if it's been a revolving door on your left side. Guess what? You make $9.5 million fucking dollars. You're going to have to learn how to play with Alec Martinez sometimes. This player has bewildered me beyond all means. He's actually a locker room cancer, and I think it shows with just how the team played the night before in Anaheim. That was probably the most physical I've seen that team play in God knows how long. It's really hard to, even show signs of growth with a young team when one of your so-called veterans is pouting in the corner the whole time, negging out. Plain and simple. So get off my team. I know we had this talk a couple days ago. People were saying the pressure's off Seth Jones. Fuck no. The pressure is on you so much higher now. It is on you so much higher. Guess what? You don't have anyone to point fingers at anymore. You're playing on the Stanley Cup fucking champions. You're getting paid not at a number one defenseman rate anymore. It's time for you to nut up or shut up. Plain and simple. If you can't fucking put up on the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, newsflash, asshole, it might be you. It might not be the team anymore. I actually am so sick of this player. It's unbelievable. And I'm glad to see that the Panthers are most Panthers fans aren't too fond of this trade. And understandably so, because you're going to get a guy who will not do shit to contribute to winning. And then when you lose, he won't shut up about it. Plain and simple. I'm so serious. You have no excuse anymore. You have no excuse anymore. You're going to make the playoffs for the first time in 5 years. Congratulations. Go do something now. Go do anything with your career. You were supposed to win multiple Norris trophies at some point in your career. And now you have deteriorated to this. Looks good on you. Looks real good on you. Clown. What a clown. Oh, my God. I can't wait for him to complain because Mikkola is his partner. Oh, my God. Such a clown. He's such a clown. Oh, my God. And shout out Kyle Davidson because the Hawks had zero leverage in this situation and still came back.
He was pretty much, it was one team. Dallas didn't even have interest in him.
Fuck that. We don't want that. It's bad when Dallas says we'd rather have Matt Dumba and Ilya Lyubushkin.
And Cody Ceci.
We'd rather deal with 3 pylons on our right side than deal with your stupid ass. Oh, God. And in a vacuum, yeah, this trade's great for Florida. It's great. Like
I think it's
you're
a
getting,
fair trade for both sides. That's what I mean. Like I think the perception on Seth Jones is fucked, and a lot of it's not his fault, but I think a lot of it is his fault.
recently it's been his doing. Let's just put it that way.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm not going to blame him for the Hawks' lack of success the last 4 years, but I am sure
Yes.
going to blame him for fucking pouting in the corner for 4 years,
Mhm.
not saying shit. Like, promise you, if you said this shit last year, Davidson probably would have got off his horse sooner and done moves, but sure. Just wait till, stupid. What a dumb season this has been. I'm so glad he's off the team. He was at the end of the day, that contract was always going to be a logjam on the right side. It was always going to cause that, especially with Rinzel's development. Yeah, you might not have a number one defenseman for 2 years, but it does not fucking matter.
Boo-hoo, go sign Orlov in free agency. Go sign Aaron McLeod, which would be kind of funny if they did that after getting rid of Jones to Florida.
Just a joke. Just a joke. And I'm so glad they got Spencer Knight. I know Spencer Knight's had his personal issues and whatnot, but this guy has proven he's been a good NHL goalie multiple years. He's playing tonight, which I thought was pretty admirable, considering we're basically throwing Mrazek to the Wolves now, which I think is kind of funny. Kyle Davidson's literally doing the Toy Story 2, I don't want to play with you anymore with his goalies. But to have that tandem of him and Soderblom, which basically gives them time to see if one of Comesso or Guyan can develop with Spencer Knight, that's a good position to be in. Your 1C is Bedard, your 1D is Levshunov, your 1G is Spencer Knight. You got those three sorted out now. That's a good spot to be in. And, I think Spencer Knight's making 4.5 till the end of next year. Who knows? Maybe he produces and that's your starting goalie for the future. If not, it's a pretty good flyer to take. The accolades speak for themselves with this guy. He almost single-handedly beat the Lightning in the playoffs a few years back. I think they would have if he started game one instead of Bobrovsky. They get another first-round pick. I'm going to be 100% honest. I don't want to see them draft this pick. This pick should be traded again for a player, but that's just me. I think you're past the time of picking in the 20s on first-round picks. It's not going to help you for the future. Guys like Vanacker are great, but you could flip that pick into an actual player that's going to help you right now. And I think that's where Davidson has to pivot.
You need more J.J. Paterkas and not like Merrick Vanackers.
Yeah, 100%.
Instead of hitting singles and taking walks, it's
ironically, J.J. Paterka got picked right around there too. So
yeah,
so it's like you could get a big. It's the fucking what's the Family Guy thing? It's a box. It could be a boat.
Yeah,
We're done playing the mystery box game.
The boat's a boat, but the box could be anything. It could even be a boat. Yeah,
literally. Yeah, so like I said, at the end of the day, I think the trade's very fair. I think it's great that the Hawks didn't have to retain more than 2.5 mil, which according to the rest of the NHL, that's very steep. But when you look at the Hawks, where they have 87 million in cap in 2 years, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine.
That's going to be pocket change in even just a couple of years, because I'm pretty sure the cap's supposed to go up to I think 113.5 million, something crazy like that. And that's conservative. That could even go up more potentially.
Think about it. The only guy on the team that's going to get substantial money is Bedard. Nazar, with the rate it's going, they'll probably bridge him. Korchinski's not getting a big contract right out the chute. They got Vlasic locked up. They're not going to have to pay anyone.
They're going to be playing Vlasic as a third pairing defenseman, and he's eating number one minutes and playing the toughest competition.
Yep, and they're in a position right now to where they could retain that much salary. I think the highest in the league right now is Carlson, 1.5, but this team, even when they're at their best, I don't think 2.5 million is going to make or break them in that fourth or fifth year.
And it shouldn't. And if it does, then I think that's more.
Says more to whatever Davidson did within those 5 years, because he's got a clean slate right now to work with, which is what he's wanted the whole time. You just got rid of the biggest cancer in the locker room. Time to put your stamp on this team. Besides 98, and 98 wasn't even your stamp. That's just lottery balls falling in place.
That's just pure fucking luck.
That's pure luck. God. That's pure luck. It's time for you to have the best offseason you've had. This is a good start, I think. This is a very good start. I think you and I can both agree, even with the amplified pressure, we thought this was an offseason trade. I didn't think this was going to be able to be done in the regular season.
No.
Like we said earlier, the fact that it was one team, basically, that he had leverage with. We saw this with Taylor Hall.
Yeah. He was backed into a corner, and he still managed to get a goalie who went in the top 15 in 2019, who still could be a superstar goalie in this organization, and also got a first round pick. And like you said, if they should be parlaying that into players for right now, whether that's JJ Peterka or whoever you want to get. And maybe they don't make the trade right now, but to me, even if you can't find a player right now, in the draft, you can use those first round picks to package up and potentially get 2 top 5 picks. Like, what if you get a Michael Misa and like a Victor Eklund or something? I don't know. We've seen
Misa
Kyle
and
Davidson.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah, there you go. We've seen Kyle Davidson, like he's whiffed on some stuff, like trying to trade up and get Ivan Demidov last year. But then you also see him connect with the Seth Jones trade, backed into a corner, 0 leverage, and was still able to come out with Spencer Knight in that first round pick. Kind of to wrap up the Seth Jones end of things, because like I still have a lot of thoughts about Seth Jones, but yeah, I'm just kind of glad he's gone now. Yeah, it's $7 million for the Florida Panthers. Absolutely, I'm taking
It's awesome.
Seth Jones.
not-
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And like, he's not going to be the number one guy in Florida. Like, that belongs to me. That belongs to Forsling and Ekblad. But you're probably going to be that next year if they don't re-sign Aaron Ekblad. And to me, like, you've got a reputation to fix, because to me, Seth Jones is kind of like Pierre-Luc Dubois. Pierre-Luc Dubois, funny enough, former teammates requested a trade out of Columbus, went to Winnipeg, requested a trade from Winnipeg, and then went to LA. It didn't work out, but hey, now he's in Washington, and I think he's on pace to break his career high in points. So, like, there is precedent for players requesting trades multiple times and then finally going on and making it work. But you have to do that. I have no doubt in my mind, like, things are going to be better in Florida. He might get the first power play unit over maybe Ekblad. I don't know if Forsling gets first power play unit, but he's certainly going to have a better team to play against. But to me, there's more of a spotlight on you now, even more in Chicago, because it's you. Even though he was playing bad a lot of the time, like, you had the excuse, well, Chicago isn't a good team, which isn't true, but I think a lot of that has to do with Seth Jones. But now that you're in Florida, a team that is trying to go for back-to-back Stanley Cups, like, you got to show why you're still getting paid $9.5 million in salary, even though you're only getting paid $7 million by the Panthers. You're going to be playing against Tampa Bay tonight. You're going to have to go up against Nikita Kucherov and Braden Point. I would assume, with how the standings are look right now, and usually how the Atlantic Division goes, you're probably going to have to play the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first or second round if they want to repeat. So yeah, it's time to shut up. For Seth Jones, this is 2 times you've done this now. In summer 2021, he wanted that trade, and I could say, like, same thing. Dallas, I don't think wanted him. I don't think Colorado either. They were probably like, oh yeah, we'll take Seth Jones for that price of money. No, I'm good. And then Chicago, even though Columbus had no fucking leverage, gave them. I was listening to the podcast that we did after that trade, and we were just so distraught. And
it's almost like we knew this trade was bad from the jump, from the fucking jump. Like, I'm sorry, with the second that rumor dropped in like May 2021, you and I both looked at each other and we were just like, okay, so a smart team would just go sign Dougie Hamilton and not give up assets. But, you know, Stan's going to be the fucking idiot, sign the older defenseman and pay him more. Good job. Idiot. Just idiot. Gong show of a GM. And now he's running the Oilers into the ground. So get excited.
And the Oilers aren't.
They're going to trade for Donato and Mrazek for Matt Savoy. Get so fucking excited.
We'll send them Connor Murphy as well.
No, I actually want to keep Connor Murphy. Like, you have to keep at least one veteran defenseman on this team, and I think Murphy fits that perfectly. You're going to have a lot of guys coming in who are very offensively inclined. Murphy's the perfect guy to pair with those guys. And the best part about Murphy, he's not going to be healthy a full 82 games. So you'll be able to play the kids more. And for the people that are like, oh, how are the Blackhawks going to fit in 26 minutes a night or whatever the fuck Jones is playing?
Actually, pretty easily, honestly.
Very easily, actually.
Ethan Del Mastro, I'm pretty sure led the Blackhawks. Wyatt Kaiser looked great as well. It's like, I don't think this team realized how much of a burn Seth Jones as a player, the personality, his contract was to this team. And then now that it's lifted, like, it seems like this team is just playing more free. Like,
wait, you're telling me, like, You're telling me I don't have to watch him get cooked and look at me like I'm the problem? Oh man, this is great. Like
What? Me?
Dude, the amount of times
Yeah.
I've seen him just mishandle a 2-on-1 and he just glares at his defensive partner. Like, buddy, you're the one that did that. That's your doing. I don't have to see that anymore. Thank God.
Dude, that
Jeez.
was
He
like
doesn't have to drive
Mike
down
Smith.
Vlasic anymore. Get excited.
Yeah, it was like Mike Smith letting it from the other end and then looking at his other team. It's like,
Literally,
what the
bro.
fuck,
He looks
guys?
right at the defenseman. He's like, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Like NHL players take accountability challenge. Impossible. Oh God. But
And yeah, I'm glad Seth Jones is gone. I think you share the same sentiment as me.
I've been
Kinda
ready
like-
for him to be gone for 4 years. So just
Mhm.
like, and it sucks too, because when he's on his A game, he has
Dude.
shown glimpses of being that number one defenseman at times. 100%. I'm not going to pretend like he hasn't, but those moments don't come more than the moments of him where you're just
They're
scratching
few
your
and
head.
far between for a guy who's getting paid $9.5 million.
You shouldn't be having like 3 Jake Gardner plays a game when you're being paid $9.5 mil. And Jones has about 3 of those every game, and one of them happens to be on the power play all the time. Because he thinks he's Kale fucking McCarr every shift. So have fun with that, Florida, because he's gonna look off your entire team and take some bullshit shot every now and then. Like, yeah, that worked against Utah a couple nights ago. Congratulations. It's the first time it's worked all fucking year for you, bud. Jesus.
Something
Like,
broken clock, something blind,
literally, bro.
whatnot.
Something blind squirrel, something finds a nut. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Cannot with this team, dude. Like, cannot with this team and cannot with this player. But it's all good. He's not our problem anymore. I hope he does well in Florida. Florida might win.
I
another
think he
cup
will
with
do
him.
well in Florida. It's just
If he doesn't, it's on
yeah.
him. He's got all the fucking
Yeah.
help in the world.
Mhm.
He's no excuse.
Yeah.
There's zero excuse for him not to succeed in Florida. I'm sorry. Like, there's just no excuse. Also,
Dude, you go from
sorry, go.
I was gonna say you go from the team that drafted Connor Bedard in 2023 to a team that's gone to the Stanley Cup final and won once in that same time frame. Like, yeah, no shit, you're gonna be better, but if things do go wrong, like, what do you got to blame now? It's time to put up or shut up.
Yeah, 100%. And he's gonna have the talent around him to do so. I think it's funny that Barkov and Jones are on the same team now. Like, we haven't even mentioned that. That's hilarious.
That's true.
Oh, they took the wrong player last year. Well, they got both now. So
What if we got both? Yeah.
get excited. Can't wait for Taylor Hall to go play with Tyler Sagan.
And then the Panthers are gonna get Jonathan Drouin. They're just gonna
Oh
get
my
like
God.
everyone from that top 4 that year. But yeah, Florida, Bill Zito knew Seth Jones in Columbus. Florida has kind of been like a rehab for a lot of players. Like, I think of Sam Bennett, former 4th overall pick, didn't work out in Calgary, goes to Florida, and like just becomes this pest, like 50-point getter guy you can play against other teams' top competition. Like, other than Barkov, Ekblad, and Lundell, everyone they've either traded for or signed for in free agency. And I do like Kyle Davidson's approach of drafting. I think that's good, but we've seen with Florida and Vegas, like, yeah, you can draft as well, but you also got to have good pro scouting, and those teams know when to play, like, trade their prospects. Florida did this when they traded for Sam Reinhart, another like top 3, top 4 pick. They just they know what players to go after, and then when they go to Florida, they shine. So I'll let you go.
Yeah. I think it's also a case of knowing when to go after a highly touted player that's very successful, which Florida's done multiple times now with Matthew Tkachuk and Seth Jones and players of that caliber. And Vegas did the same with Eichel, Pietrangelo. When he was still good, Pacioretty, I'd throw in that group too, in terms of when they traded for him, at least. Like, they traded Nick Suzuki for him in hindsight. That's pretty fucking crazy to think
Hey,
about.
but like Vegas has hit on those trades more often than not. Yeah, you're gonna have some whiffs, but it doesn't matter when
When you get Jack Eichel, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and
When
Mark
you get
Stone
Matthew
and Alex
Tkachuk, it
Pietrangelo,
doesn't. Yeah. Didn't even mention Mark Stone. Jesus fucking Christ. I hate Vegas. I hate Vegas so much. They're going to go trade for like Braden Shen this year. And it's going to make no sense.
No, they're
But it's
gonna
going to
Mikko
work.
Rantanen.
Oh my God. I hate this team. And I hope they get bounced in the second round because of it by the power of friendship Calgary Flames.
Let's go. But who's the defenseman they trade for Hannafin? Like Daniil Marinat? I don't even remember his name. He's gonna score
Dude,
goals.
it doesn't matter. Like every time they make a move like that, it doesn't matter who they give up. Honestly, what they give up, Edstrom for Hurdle, like they just drafted him.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Mhm.
Smell you later. Like we don't need these prospects. The only one that they've kept is Dorofeyev, and he's on pace for 30 goals. Go figure.
They're gonna trade Trevor Connolly, who they drafted last year. I would think.
I'd trade him too. Jesus, a cancer, but that's besides the point. Hey, maybe he's trading to Florida. He fit right in with Seth and his mom. Get excited. Literally texted my sister. I was like, Amy Jones is in your zip code. Plan accordingly.
Oh my god, yeah, I'm glad they're gone. But yeah, Florida, like
Pretty sure she has me
consistently-
blocked on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think her and Seth Jones have me blocked.
What a crazy.
Which is funny because I feel like we have been pretty fair with Seth Jones. The whole fucking fan base hates Seth Jones, and I totally.
You know
get
what's
why.
funny? I got clowned the night he got traded by like Pete
Mhm.
Blackburn and all those motherfuckers because I was just like, this is ridiculous. You don't give up this amount of talent for this player, and then they're like, oh, you got to spend something to get something for a number one defenseman. I'm like, cool. He's not a number one defenseman.
Yeah.
Do not care what you fucking say. He's not even the best defenseman on his own team.
Yeah.
It's Zach Werenski. Fuck, dude. He's never been the best
Dude.
defenseman on his team, and when he was, the team stunk. Go figure.
I got the worst of it. Do you remember like the unfortunate events when they were announcing the trade?
Yep.
It's like
At least it's not
Jones
8 years.
He'll probably sign 7 years. At least it's not 8 years, and then
8 years,
Yeah.
fully no move. Just
Oh
Gonna rip my hair out.
God.
I forgot about that. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
Just a
4 years
awful
ago. It's
team.
crazy how so much has changed from that. And again, like could have been a reality where everything worked out, but requesting that trade and like not knowing that the core of that team like is older, and at best you might have got 1 or 2 years of like like fighting for a playoff spot. Like the Blackhawks were never guaranteed to even make the playoffs that year. It's like, oh, maybe they make a wild card spot. If he was like a good soldier and like just shut up like Connor Murphy does, or like outspoke from the start and tried to be a leader, I think things would be different.
Yeah, I
But
think
it's
year
like,
two, if you start saying this is bullshit, yeah, they
Mhm.
probably fucking do more. But also, the guy who's the GM did not sign you. We see this time
Nope.
and time again. I
Nope.
don't want the turd on my cake that I didn't even put on. Like, get off my hockey team. I can use that $9.5 million or $7 million in this case to go get a Mikko Rantanen or to go get a Nikolai Ehlers or go get
Or Magic
someone
Mitchie
that is going to help
Marner.
Connor Bedard.
ooh.
Ugh. That money can be reallocated in so many better areas. It's just the reality of the situation. And that should be allocated towards the forwards. We've seen this league, and I've gone over it time and time again. Every Stanley Cup champion in the last, since Boston, I think, has had a dynamic duo. Think about that. That's 15 Stanley Cup champions that have had a dynamic duo.
I would argue, like, as long as you look at the Stanley Cup champions all time, 95% of them you got a dynamic duo, and I feel that's being conservative.
Yeah.
Like there are some
And they don't
outliers,
have
but
that
yeah,
right now.
you have that dynamic duo when you win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I'll just run down the last 5. You have Barkov and Kachuk. You have Stone and Eichel. You have Kucherov and Point multiple times. You have McKinnon and Rantanen. And then I think the Blues is the only one where you don't have it.
They're
But even
kind
then,
of the outlier, but even then,
even
like,
then
O'Reilly,
Tarasenko was
were
fucking
elite.
demon that
Yeah.
playoff. Yeah, like
Mhm.
I don't know. The Caps, it was Kuznetsov and Ovechkin, Crosby, Malkin, Kessel, those 2 years, Taves and Kane. Like it. The fact that it goes back as far as when the Hawks last won a cup should tell you something. That's why I was banging my head on the hand on the table for Demidov. Granted, like this is a year where they're going to get that forward regardless. You just need to hit on the right one. I think dream scenario is San Jose gets 1 and the Hawks get 2. So San Jose can take Schaefer and the Hawks get their pick of the litter of who they want. I still think it's Misa at the moment. That's the left-handed
At
Braden
this point,
Point.
I'm just like, give us first overall and let us pick me. So I'm honestly at that point now.
See, I don't need the idea of Matthew Schaefer in the back of Kyle Davidson's head, though. I don't. Because he's going to see, shiny tool. Like, maybe it's just me. I do not understand why Matthew Schaefer's stock has skyrocketed after he got hurt. I've never seen that with a player in my life. Never in my life. Sure. Like, I don't know. I get Byron vibes from Schaefer. And it's not even him. It's just the way the media's hyped him up. I can't get behind that unless he's like Rasmus Dahlin good. And I haven't heard that from anyone. So,
and that feels like the bare minimum. Like I feel you got to, if you're going first overall, you got to project him as a Quinn Hughes or a Cale Makar type of defenseman.
100%. And it's, they have a forward. They're the top 5 is Schaefer and 4 forwards. And then I think there's a drop off. I think there's going to be a drop off in talent.
We'll discuss that with Will Scouch tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm very curious to hear how Scouch has his top 5 ranked right now, because that's where the Hawks are going to be picking top 4. Worst case scenario, they're picking 4th because they're going to be second last. Oh no, we get a power forward. Like, you're not going to hear me complain about anyone unless they go outside of that top 4. And if they go outside of that top 4, the only guy I can even sleep on is Frondell. That's it. If they're going like Ryabkin in the top 5, like, I don't know what the fuck we're doing anymore. Dude, don't overthink it. Do not overthink it. Take the guy who had exceptional status as a 14-year-old, has done nothing but live up to that, and has gotten better every single season.
I mean, he's no Nick Lardis, but hey, he's a goal per game.
Listen. He doesn't have 66 goals. He only has 57.
Dude,
sorry. Guys.
I was looking at it. Nick Lardis could not score the rest of the season, and he would still finish with a goal per game because I think he can play max 66 games, and he's at 66 goals right now. It's ridiculous.
Nick Lardis is such a unicorn. Like, you knew he was going to be good, but I didn't think he was going to be.
I didn't think he was going to pop off like this. And like, now it was like, oh, maybe he makes the NHL. I think he's going to be an NHL player. It's just a matter if he's like Jake Gensel. Cause like, I don't know if like their play style is exactly identical, but just like left-handed goal scorer, sub 6 feet that win the 3rd round. Like that would be the dream right there. Or
Sorry.
Sorry,
he's on pace for 75 goals. I just had to throw that in.
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
I remember I was reading a Scott Powers article, and I think he asked Jack Hahn, like, what would be some realistic, like, stylistic comparables to Nick Lardis, and one that came up was Andrew Mangiapane, and Mangiapane's kind of had one outlier year where I think he scored 35 goals in 21-22, and there was talk of him maybe making the Canadian Olympic team, but he hasn't quite reached that since then. But looking at his stats, he basically like averages out as a 2020 player. I mean, if you get that year in, year out from your 3rd round pick, you still take that, but it's so hard not to ski him like scoring all those goals and help but think like he can't be more than that, or that he can be more than that rather.
If you just want to see like a comparison of like what Lardis has done this year, Gavin Hayes had a pretty good second year, first year out of the draft. He had 41 goals in 66 games with the Flint Firebirds. Alex DeBrincat had 65 and 63 in his first post-draft season. Lardis has already shattered those numbers. And he's not a 5'7" forward.
No.
If he even is remotely comparable in the rest of his assets, he should be in the NHL in 2 years, no question. That shot alone should put you in the NHL sooner than later. You're telling me the Hawks couldn't use that on their left or right circle on the power play? Holy God, like they would need that. Oh, like, oh no, we don't have Tara Vinan's one-timer anymore. Let's just fucking drop Nick Lardis in like a chess piece. Oh my God. But it's the tale as old as time with OHL players though. He's 19 going up against 17 and 16-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
That I think you give him a year in Rockford just to see, unless he fucking blows it out of the water in camp. I think you and I have had this talk. If he blows it out of the water, you start him, you get him like no bullshit. He probably should get 9 games next year. He should get at least 9 to at least see if he can play at the NHL level. I think he's earned that. But I think a year in Rockford would do him wonders. We've seen it time and time again with anyone that's gone through that Rockford system right now. It's kind of one of the main reasons I don't like Andrew Sorensen being the head coach, because I think he was doing a great job.
He should not be the head coach. And like we talk about all the moves that Kyle Davidson can make, the first order business should be getting a head coach, and like that should start right now. Like you should actually not right now, because like there's going to get head coaches that will be fired like in May and probably early June, but you need to do your legwork.
Let's go look at the standings. Who could fire their coach?
The one that comes to like the ones that are still available, Jay Woodcroft. I still am thinking Mike Sullivan.
Oh God, give me Mike Sullivan, please.
And I've
Penguins
said
don't
this,
even
what if
appreciate
Dallas
it.
has an early exit? Do you think they get rid of Pete DeBoer?
First round exit, I think it's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. This is probably the most nothing burger year for Dallas, and they're still 39-19. Just a silly hockey team. And people will still say Jim Nill's not a good GM, and I will continue to laugh every day.
Who is saying that?
Dude,
What?
people say this guy's one of the most overrated GMs, and I can't fucking stand it.
No.
Like, he does everything right. He does everything right. The only thing he hasn't done right is probably the Tyler Seguin contract. And at the time, that was a good deal. At the time, it was a good deal.
The only thing, I've said this about the Stars so many times, the only thing they haven't done is win a goddamn Stanley Cup. They've done everything else besides that. They're set to win for now and for the next 5 years, I would say. That is ridiculous. This is coming from a team that the Stars are interdivision, and when we do get back to playoff contention again, the Stars are going to be a team that's going to be a pain in their ass always.
Jeez, I'm just
sorry.
It's crazy how terrible the Hawks and the Sharks are compared to the rest of the competition. It's so funny too, because you would think the Blackhawks have the Sharks record with the way they get talked about. It's hilarious to me. Also, I saw someone say today that Celebrini has less help than Bedard, and I almost spit out my drink laughing.
Shut the
I
fuck
almost
up.
spit out my fucking drink laughing. God, I can't with people. I get it. Bedard got overhyped like crazy, and rightfully so, but guys, let's not pretend like he's not playing with fucking plugs. Jesus Christ. When Bertuzzi's your best forward and Bertuzzi's like a 45, 50 point guy, get a grip, honestly. He is making Ryan Donato so much money this year. God bless Ryan Donato.
He might get the Blackhawks a first-round pick for him.
Dude, either that or you're getting a guy who can play throughout every line. But at the end of the day, am I crazy to say he's earned Ryan Donato probably $4 or $5 million per year on the open market?
Yeah, he would definitely want
get
that.
30 and 30.
He might hit 30. He might hit 30 this year. That's not out of the question. And apparently he was scratched earlier this season a couple times. I forgot about that.
He was not in the starting roster night one. He wasn't.
It's fucking crazy.
Because Philip Kurashev was coming off a 58-point year. Now he's on the IR. And he's going to be a Blackhawk again. Get excited.
God, get this team some fucking forward help, KD.
It's the easy, you said it. What was it, a couple nights ago? It is the easiest.
They have their number one goalie. They have their number one defenseman. They have their number one center. You might have your number two center at this rate with Frank Nazar. The way he's been playing, he's been the best Hawk since we've returned. Get some fucking winger help, dude.
Oh my God. Nothing makes me happier than seeing Frank Nazar on demon time. Dude, did you see the highlights in the Anaheim game? He drew 2 penalties in one shift.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a fucking tank. And then he tried to fight Trouba.
Because the refs hate the Blackhawks. They get nothing called against them.
No, they really do. It's nuts. People were getting on the ref's ass a couple nights ago because Bedard finally got a cross-check call on him. Give me a break. I've watched Bedard get cross-checked all season and it not get called.
And then
Sergachev literally threw him in the numbers, into the boards on Monday, and it didn't get called.
And then Bedard will touch a guy and he'll get called for it. It's definitely a thing. Oh, this is a young guy. We got to fuck around with him.
Yeah, 100%. And it's whatever. He's going through the Crosby treatment, and then when he gets rancid and he puts up 120, it's fine.
I think McDavid went through it too. Yeah.
Speaking of McDavid, oof, my own. What
the
fuck is going on there? Sounds like they need Ryan Donato. No, but actually, I want to talk about the Oilers, though. I know we weren't going to dive into the NHL, but
well, we're already in it. We can go for however long you want to go.
They've been
terrible,
though.
I want to watch the game. I just want to.
Oh, it's at the 8:30. We got time. Yeah, I got time.
I want to. Yeah, I got time. I want to wrap up the Spencer Knight part of things because I feel like we talked a lot about the Seth Jones, but I feel like having Spencer Knight on the Blackhawks is so much fun. Kyle Davidson needs to take more flyers like this. Spencer Knight, a former top 15 pick from 2019. He's part of that crazy US NTDP team. I'm pretty sure Vlasic played with him.
Slaggert did too.
As well. Yeah.
You know what I think is hilarious? we literally said this a couple nights ago about Kakko, where we were just like, why can't Davidson take flyers on some of these guys who aren't relishing from their draft year? And he literally goes out and gets Dude, he literally goes out and gets Spencer Knight. It's time to get Trevor Zegras and complete the cycle. Holy smokes. Or maybe an Alex Turcotte, something like that.
Apparently, he's doing good this year. I looked it up the other day because I was
not ass.
No, he's certainly not ass.
It makes me so sad. Turcotte's development's just been
20
this
points
long.
in 53 games is
Plus 8. It's a good
There
LA.
you because
I mean,
plus minus is everything.
Dude.
Let's go.
no, okay, no, plus minus is everything because everyone on LA has a positive plus minus, and then Fiala has a -9.
Oh no,
I love
you
seeing the
should
one
trade in
outlier.
Chicago.
Oh, speaking of plus minus, I got to play my fun game. Over under how many? You get 3 guesses. What is Seth Jones's plus minus as a Blackhawk? His final plus minus. I know plus minus isn't
I
everything.
don't know, but I remember reading Philip Kershaw. I'm pretty sure he's like at -130. He's never gonna get to a plus player. Even Bedard's like -70, I think.
Oh,
Like, it's
Bedard's going to
take
be
him-
like Bedard's. It's going to take Bedard 3 years to get that back up. But
yeah.
dude, Seth Jones had a -108 in his career as a Hawk.
Somehow that's not as bad as
No, because the last 2 years he actually wasn't terrible. Like the 2 years they put him with Vlasic, he wasn't a -40. Who would have thought? But whatever. You get paid like a $9.5 million defenseman, maybe play like one. I don't know. It's just my thought.
I was gonna guess like -120, -130, closer to 150 than 100, really.
Yeah. Also, Seth Jones has had 1 year where he's played 82 games, so have fun with that one. Like it's one thing.
He's got injured a few times, like nothing serious, but it feels like he's
It's about
missed
20
like 10
games,
games
that's a
every
lot.
season. Yeah.
And
I just want to go over Spencer Knight. So he was the 13th overall pick in 2019. I remember when that happened, and then they signed Sergei Bobrovsky, and everyone was just kind of dumbfounded. And it only took him a couple years. In the shortened 2021 season, played only 4 games, but had 4 wins, 232 goals against average, and a .919 save percentage. And I'm pretty sure he won gold with the U.S. at the World Juniors that same year. You brought it up earlier, Spencer Knight. Like if they start Spencer Knight that series against Tampa Bay in 2021, they probably win that series because 2 games he played, 206 goals against average and a .933 save percentage. Like he's gone through his trial and tribulations, but every year in his career he's been at least above 900. Most he's played was 21-22. 27 games started, 32 games played, 279 goals against average and 908. 2 shutouts, 22-23, 19 games started, 21 games played, 318, 901 save percentage. Like that's the worst he's done and a shutout. And this year on the Florida Panthers, he's been better than Bobrovsky. 21 games started, 23 games played, and 240 goals against average, 907 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. Like obviously being on the Panthers, he's gotten a lot of wins. He's 44, 25, and 7. Like I'm truly excited to watch Spencer Knight play. And this should just tell you about goaltending, not even like looking at Florida's end of things. Like you probably thought Spencer Knight was your future number 1 goalie. And obviously some personal stuff, but then Sergei Bobrovsky goes out and wins you the cup anyways. And then looking at the Blackhawks end of things, like you thought Mrazek and Brossoit were going to be your 2 goalies, and here we are in March, and now your 2 goalies are Arvid Soderblom, who has been the best story on the Blackhawks this season, in my opinion. The turnaround he's done is crazy. Like he's single-handedly keeping this team in games when it should be a lot more worse, and now you got Spencer Knight in there. I don't know how they're going to get rid of Mrazek. I know, like, Detroit traded Ville Husso to Anaheim for future considerations. I think that's what what Kyle Davidson would do, and you probably just buy out Brossoit. But yeah, the prospect of having Spencer Knight and Arvid Soderblom going into next year is really fun because like 906 save percentage over his career, it's not incredible, but in today's NHL, that's above average. Like if you I'm pretty sure Soderblom's a 906. If you just get a 906 out of Spencer Knight and Arvid Soderblom, like this team is instantly better next year. 2019 first round pick. Kyle Davidson needs to do this more. He needs to take more flyers. like to me, like that's probably the oldest you go because like Alex Vlasic won the same draft 2019. They're 23. They're gonna be 24, I think, next month. You probably don't want to go too much older than that, but yeah, get Trevor Zegras and like look elsewhere. There's players out there. Time to take some chances. You got all these draft picks for a reason. I want to read through all the draft picks they have. They have 5 first-round picks in the next 3 years. They have 2 this year, 2 next year, probably going to slide to 2027 if the Panthers make another big trade. And they have 7 second-round picks, 2 this year, 3 next year, and 2 next year. Like, you could trade 2 of those first-round picks. You could trade a Toronto first. You could trade a Florida first. And, like, you could still go into the draft this year and pick in the first round twice because you have all those seconds to move up. You can do whatever the fuck you want, but all these draft picks are not going to play in your lineup. They have a lot of players that are similar. Like, you have a lot of Paul Ludwinskis in your system. It's time to swing peg and get some like skill players that can play in your top 6. Please. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Also, I think it's funny that Spencer Knight's gonna have his Florida gear on because he doesn't have yet. Yeah, I agree. Like it's time to add a clean slate. This is a great start, I think, to have that tandem going forward. I think that you and I talked, that was probably one of the bigger question marks was going to be how are they going to handle that. And I think the easiest way to handle that, from what it sounds like, Peter Mrazek has a market, so he'll get traded before Friday. And then you buy up, and then you buy up Brossoit. Have that be your tandem going forward. If you want to keep Brossoit, you can, and send him to the minors. You can do what you did with Chris Drieger for a while, but I think this is your tandem going forward. They're both under 25, and they're both shown signs of promise at multiple points. Specifically, Spencer Knight, like you said, being extremely consistent, and a 907 is above league average. So
the worst he's done is a 901, and that was in the season where he had like his personal problems, which he's gotten sorted out, thankfully. Like, this guy is battle tested. Like, I don't think he was technically on the Panthers roster, but I would think he would have gotten a ring from when the Panthers won. So
I'd hope so. I mean, I've seen the picture of him with the cup.
Yeah, I would assume he got a ring.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess they didn't because if they like Spencer Knight, they would have put a ring on him.
It's crazy too because I saw someone bring up with the Panthers. They've drafted a goalie every year their last 7 years.
They've drafted Devin Levi and they've drafted Spencer Knight, and they've traded both those players. They got Sam Reinhart, and now you got Seth Jones. Pretty good. And apparently that's Roberto Luongo's work. They do a really good job of finding goalies.
Yeah, and to trade Levi and Knight and still have a deep goalie prospect pool is pretty nuts in hindsight. And can't believe we can even say that the Bobrovsky deal has paid off. Did not think that was going to be the case.
That's all that matters. He could be shit.
They almost won too. He's done exactly what Bobrovsky's done, solidified his Hall of Fame career. And
Sergei Bobrovsky, Hall of Famer. That's crazy. Speaking of a team with Hall of Famers, do you want to get onto the Oilers? Because I know you want to talk about them.
I do. Yeah. I do want to talk about them just because they've been terrible since coming back from the Four Nations. I think McDavid's like a -14 since he's gotten back, which is just not like I know we keep saying plus minus isn't a thing, but when the best player in the world is not doing that, it's noteworthy.
And that small like stretch of a games, like I think it's only 4 or 5 games they played. Like it's not a lot. I don't know the exact amount.
Yeah. And you look at like Bouchard. I've seen some clips of Bouchard that are just shameful. He's looking like 2018 Brent Seabrook as a 24-year-old. That's unacceptable. That's just unacceptable. You're telling me
it's because he's given out. It's just because he doesn't fucking try.
Dude, he like so Dangle said it best. He's like, if this guy tried, he'd have multiple Norris trophies probably. He doesn't bend his knees on defense, dude.
No.
And you're going into a contract here where you can potentially make double digits a year. You have the potential to get an $80 million contract, and you're just shitting it away night after night basis. It's crazy. I can't even begin to describe it, if I'm being honest. It's kind of daunting. I saw a situation where it was like the Hawks should trade him Mrazek and Donato. You take Skinner back, and which would be hilarious because then that means Skinner doesn't make the playoffs. But there's a world where the Hawks could be a trade partner with the Oilers, but the Oilers got to do something. There's reports of the Caps kind of they're not going to make a move at the deadline because they want to just keep the crew together. Like you've seen it time and time again. Like you get a new piece in there, it can fuck up the machine. Speaking of the machine, Pierre-Luc Dubois just shattered his career high in assists. He has 3 points in the first period.
That's what I mean, dude. He's gonna break his career high in points this year.
Yeah, it's gonna be nuts.
And Ovechkin's like what, 13? I think it's less than 13 now. I think it's like 11 goals from the all-time record.
Yeah, he's an animal. And at the end of the day, the guy broke his leg and he still has the potential to break Gretzky's record. I'm sorry, I'm texting my boss right now. I really do apologize.
Russian machine never breaks, man. Yeah, he's at 884. He needs 11 more.
Yeah. Fucking God, that's so.
And he's got like a month and a half to do it.
So silly. Like he might break it against the Hawks.
Yeah.
Didn't he get 800 against the Hawks too?
Yes, he did. And I'm pretty sure it was off a hat trick, wasn't it?
Yeah. Dread it. Run from it. Destiny arrives all.
To be honest, I would be honored if Ovechkin scored again. Yeah, on April 4th, Blackhawks are in Washington. Honestly, I kind of hope the Capitals do it against the Blackhawks in Washington. That would be chills.
Yeah, you look at a team like Edmonton, right? I want to just go back to this for a second because Washington's amazing. Like they're just a story to be had. Lindgren, I think, got another extension as well.
They got the power of friendship going, I think.
Power of friendship,
and they're going to get Ryan Leonard
combo. Dude, I don't even think they need Ryan Leonard at this point.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad either to have him.
Yeah. So, basically, my whole thing right now with Edmonton is like they're a poorly run team, and they have a 9.
I wonder why that would be.
Yeah, it's it's so stupid, honestly. The fact that this team they were a goal away from a Stanley Cup, and they're still probably not where they need to be whatsoever. This team could be so much better, starting with the back end. I think it's the same issues we talked about for God knows how long. It's literally they have no depth scoring, and they can't stop a puck because their defense can't play properly. So what do? They go get John Klingberg and Jeff Skinner to fix those problems. It's going to take more than that, guys. Like I said it again, like Brian Donato would help this team out immensely. But, they gave Adam Henrique a no-move clause, so kind of just...
And apparently they give Victor Arvidsson a no-movement clause.
Like why?
Yeah, I guess transparency is not Stan Bowman's thing. Oh, God. That, to me, if anything, that just solidifies Draisaitl for Hart, because 60 games played, 90 points, 44 goals, 46 assists. Looking at the goals, yeah, like, can you guess the next person behind him and like how many it is? Because Leon Draisaitl has got 44. Can you guess the next player in the amount of goals?
I think it's like not even 25. It's got to be McDavid, but
Hyman. Oh no, I meant like in the NHL.
It's really not great. I'm pretty sure it's Nylander. Am I wrong?
You'd be right. And he has 35 goals. Like he pretty much has a 10-goal
beast mode here. He's probably gonna get 50. Shoot.
Yeah.
Or close to it.
And he's underpaid.
But no, he's overpaid, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's why I just give her to Marner already, please. Just let him come to the Hawks. Like, God. Also, yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
We hold McDavid to such a high standard. 70 points in 54 games. That's
down year. Bomb. Bust. Yeah. Get him off.
I think
he had a down year last year and he had 100 assists. Like, this is just what he does, bro. He's the best player we're probably ever going to see in our lifetimes. And that's just nuts to think about.
That is still fucking comical in 22-23. 150 points and 64 goals. Bro just casually scored 64 goals.
That's just... And I get why Oilers fans get frustrated with McDavid sometimes. Like, bro, you literally have his 50-goal scoring shot and you don't use it sometimes. Like, just shoot the puck, man. Just shoot the puck. Like like we say it with Bedard all the time. Like I think Bedard just needs to fucking fire that shit sometimes, and McDavid should have the same mindset, dude. Like, oh, it opens up
Learn
so
from your
much more when
teammate.
you show the opponent, hey, listen, I'm still can score 60, and I just choose not to. Oh, he's such a beast. And that's why I get frustrated watching this team because he doesn't look the same right now. I don't know if it's illness or something.
He might be injured.
He's got a
'cause,
plus
like-
3 this year. What the fuck is going on in Edmonton? Like, what are we doing? Sorry. Like, the Oilers are such an enigma. Like, there's no team like them in the league. Zach Hyman has 20 goals this year. Oh, this team stinks, dude. Holy smokes. Dude, Brett Kulak has the same amount of points as Jeff Skinner. This cannot happen.
Brett Kulak has been good as a thing. It's
Kulak's been great. That's not the point, though.
Yeah.
The point is, why is Drake Caggiula playing NHL games in 2025? What is this team, bro? They're not a real roster.
McDavid is still on pace for 114 points this year. The only times in his NHL career where he hasn't hit 100 points was 2019-20, where he had 97 points in 64 games. I think he was injured
no!
He was injured for a bit, and obviously that season was cut short. And then his first season where he had 48 points in 45 games and Brandon Manning killed him. Those are the only times in his career where he's not hit 100 points. He still hit 105 points in the 56-game season in 2021. Like, unreal. He's going to have an almost, 20-point drop-off from last year. And he's still going to have, 114
He's still
points.
top 4 player in the league in terms of points. And he's having a, hilariously down year. Also, can we talk about the Hart Trophy race for a second? Because I feel
It's
like
Draisaitl, man. Come on. He's the only bright spot on the Oilers right now, which is why they're so frustrating. If they were just decent, they are world beaters.
I'm not even going to lie, though. McKinnon is the only reason this team is competitive right now, though. This is like a Kucherov situation like last year. McKinnon has 91 points. The next closest that's not Makar is Arturi Lehkonen. And I'm not counting Marty Necas because Marty Necas got a majority of those points not on the team. Dude, McKinnon's got 91. Necas has 68. And let me see how many he has in Colorado, to be fair. He's got 13 and 12. That's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. Makar's got 67.
I think that's exactly what they wanted, yeah.
Yeah, and Makar's got 67 and 61. And then the next is Arturi Lehkonen with 35 points. Dude, they don't get scoring from anyone else.
No.
It's crazy. He has 25 goals. Lead the team in goals. This is not a real hockey team. Nichushkin, I don't even know what's going on there anymore. They just have a lot of depth scoring.
Landeskog literally hasn't played a game in 3 years since he lifted the cup.
Insanity. They got a goalie now. Blackwood and Wedgwood have been pretty good. That minor guy kind of
They've been probably the busiest team this season in terms of making trades. They completely switched their goalie. They
traded Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah. And then they got Ryan Lindgren and Jimmy Vesey.
No, they've literally been playing this game like NHL franchise mode. No bullshit. And McKinnon, through all of it, is on pace for 95 assists.
That's cool.
Pretty beast. It's pretty beast. He's got 68 assists in 61 games, and he's got 23 to boot with that. So he's on pace for 40. He's on pace for what Kucherov did to win the Hart in 2019. 45 goals, or not, probably not 45, probably 40. 40 goals and God knows, 95 assists probably. He's such a beast. But you're right, Draisaitl should get just as much because Draisaitl's going to run away with the Rocket. And on top, most people that run away with the Rocket, their assists don't show for it. He has just as many assists as he has goals. He literally is going to do he could do 60 and 60 this year.
Dude, he could do 65 and 65, and I would not be shocked.
And if he does 60 and 60, he gets it. There's no question. And then you have Connor Hellebuyck, who's under a 2 goals against. Just casually. You could give it to Hellebuyck. You could give it to Werenski. I think Werenski is right in that conversation. He should win the Norris. I'll die on that hill. If Werenski doesn't get his Revenant Norris this year, I don't know what we're doing. and like I know I'm a firm, like I know I've beat the drum before about Makar should have more Norris trophies, but it doesn't matter when Zach Werenski is literally carrying the Blue Jackets to the playoffs with the amount of injuries they've had. It's a wide open Hart Trophy race. And then you have Kucherov, who's just casually got 87 points. Like Kucherov's just like one of the players that you always forget about, and he's just so good. Dude, he has 960 and 780 games. Like he's almost 200 points above a point a game. Like if it wasn't for Ovechkin, he'd probably be the best Russian of all time.
Yeah.
Firm believer in that.
Yeah.
Got 2 cups to boot for it. Should probably have 2 Hart trophies to boot, but McKinnon got his Revenant Hart last year. So that's probably why Draisaitl's going to get the Hart this year. Because
He doesn't have a Conn Smythe, does he? Because I think it was Hedman and Vasilevsky. Speaking of which,
no Conn Smythe, but he was the top scorer on both those teams. I think that says a lot. I think the one cup, it was literally just him, Point, and Palat. So.
And then Steven Stamkos dropping in for 5 minutes and scoring. That's
honestly
so
the most
crazy.
beast thing I've ever seen in my life. He's like, I'm playing one game, playing 3 minutes, gonna fucking rip one high glove, and then I'm gonna be out for the whole next game.
And now I got 0 points in my last 13 games with the Preds.
What happened there? Like we knew he wasn't good 5-on-5, but holy shit.
You're telling me not one of those one-timers hasn't gone in 13 games, or at least ricocheted off someone's ass cheek for an assist? Like, I don't know what the hell's going on in Nashville, but they have 3 firsts. So, I mean, clearly Barry Trotz.
They're going to be a team to watch at the deadline because I know the thing is Vancouver with Elias Pettersson obviously wants immediate players, and I would think Buffalo the same with all the players. Buffalo's also another team to watch, but if I'm Nashville, I just trade all my 3 first-round picks to get Elias Pettersson, and if you can't do that, then get a Dylan Cousins and or a JJ Peterka.
I think JJ Peterka. I just need one of these players. You know what I mean? Just one forward acquisition be a trade. That's all I'm asking. I don't think that's a lot to ask for, but it would help this team.
Trevor Zegras. Bro.
Literally Trevor Zegras for Toronto's first. Just do it already. Just do it. He does not have a spot on that roster.
No. I want to wrap up the Edmonton discussion because I thought this free agency, I originally thought they did a good job. To me, this is what they should have done in the previous years. Getting a Jeff Skinner or Victor Arvidsson, only committing 1 or 2 years, and then they also traded for Matt Savoy. That's great. They could still trade him and get a haul back, but to me, where they just had a complete misstep is the offer sheets. They should have kept one of Holloway or Broberg. I'm pretty sure Broberg was offered more, so I'm okay, I can understand that, but dude, they should have kept Dylan Holloway because he is doing so well in St. Louis, and to me that furthers my point. The Blackhawks should look at offer sheets this offseason. You don't even have to break the bank to the point where you're giving up a first, second, third, or whatever the compensation is. St. Louis got Dylan Holloway for second. There's no reason why Kyle Davidson can't do that.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's just bad asset management once again, and would not expect anything less from the president of that organization. But who's to say that? It's not like we lived through it for a decade. What would we know?
No.
They are just it's such a. I feel like it's such an easy fix. You know what I mean? It's such
an
easy fix.
And who knows? We've talked about the oil every year since we've been playing full seasons. The Oilers go through a rough stretch, and then they come out just fine. They could just.
They lost to the Sharks last year and almost won the cup.
Yeah. They could just rattle off 10 in a row, and I would not be surprised in the slightest.
Uh-huh.
What's up?
Sorry, the Raw started, and I just see Punk running up the ramp. I'm like, oh, what's going on? And I see Seth's goofy ass looking like Hawkeye at the top of the ramp.
Yo, Seth Jones? He's in wrestling now? Yo!
Honestly, Seth would suck at this, too, because he's got a bad attitude, and you don't need that in wrestling.
Bro, but he could be the heel, bro. He could be the heel.
Oh, my God. He and Logan Paul tag team. Get excited. What's Seth Jones doing in Japan?
Oh, my God.
Too funny. But Yeah, Oilers need to make a move in the next 5 days. Don't know what it is, don't know who it's for, but you need to make a move. And if you don't, it's a failure by that front office. Honestly, it's a failure any year you don't win with McDavid at this point. Sorry, it's just the
And
reality of the
Draisaitl,
situation.
and Bouchard, and Ekholm.
Draisaitl's about
and-
to win his second Hart Trophy. Like, you need to win. You need to win, right?
You got two players that have won that might have multiple Hart trophies. Like, did Malkin have 2 Hearts? I'm gonna look that up
I don't
because I
think
don't
so.
think the
He had
Penguins
one.
had that.
I know he had one,
I know
I
for a
think he had
fact he had
Conn Smythe.
one.
but that's it.
Yeah, that's true. He did have a Conn Smythe.
Sidney Crosby really
Is
has
that-
two Conn Smythe. That shit cracks me up.
Yeah. So Malkin only has 1 Hart, 2012. Yeah, I remember that. And I think Crosby only has 2, which is just outrageous.
Crosby only has 2?
Yeah. 2007 and 2014.
What?
And those were the years he won the Art Ross.
You know what? Shit. You know what? That actually kind of checks out. Now that I'm thinking about it. He had the year where he won the Rocket. He had the year where he won a Selkie. But like after 2016,
Has
he
he
has
won a
that year where
Selkie?
he- I don't think
thought
he
he has.
did. I don't think he did. He ran a Rocket though. I know that much.
No, he's won a Rocket. I think he tied with Stamkos. He might have won twice.
Yeah, Crosby's just one of those players that, like, yeah, he's not going to lead the league at scoring, but he's still going to be the best player in the world when he wants to be. And that's most of the
Yeah,
time.
Rocket Richard 2010, 2017. Hey, I think that's a good segue to lead into the last talk before we wrap this up. If you want to talk about it, like Sidney Crosby, he's still Captain Canada. We're talking about all the great talent across the NHL, and we were talking about Nate McKinnon, and it's like I always think, oh, it's so cool to cheer for Sidney Crosby. It's like, dude, I got to cheer for Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar. I never get to do that. That was cool.
Yeah.
But also, like Leon Draisaitl should be able to play in these international tours. So should Nikita Kucherov. So should David Pasternak.
I feel
all
so
these-
bad for the Russian players, bro. Because, like,
Because they got fucking nothing to do with the
they
geopolitics.
didn't sign up for this. Like, God.
No. Yeah, we got
Yeah.
robbed of like no Matthews and Kane, and now we're gonna get robbed of like no Ovechkin.
Kucherov and Ovechkin.
Kucherov, yeah.
It's a crime. It really is. It's unfortunate. Four Nations just showed that this league's been stupid for the last decade, like we've said for years. Like, I know it should be a positive thing, and we should be like, this is great, but if anything, it just pissed me off more. I'm just like, you guys are stupid. You guys are so fucking stupid. Like, yeah, sorry, Matthew Tkachuk's gonna be out to the playoffs now. Oh no! Gives a fuck. You know how much like eyes on the product that series brought, dude. I've never heard my office at work ever talk about hockey. All those motherfuckers were talking about it after the USA Canada game. All of them. I didn't even have to bring it up in conversation. Usually, I'm the one that has to start that shit. It was
So let's talk about that hockey, guys. Am I right?
Oh no, it's literally just me looking at a stat and being like, McDavid's so silly. Because like my boss is from Erie. So like he went to the same high school McDavid went to and he was on the
Ooh.
Otters. Which is pretty funny.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
With
like
Dylan
anytime I bring
Strome and Alex DeBrincat.
I don't think every time. Taylor Radish. But
and Anthony
no,
Cirelli, I'm pretty sure. I
it
don't
put
know.
legit eyes on the product. And
Yeah, it's like how
shame.
often
Shame that we haven't
does-
gotten this.
Yeah, how often is like hockey and like mainstream media? Like usually hockey is second fiddle. We always see football and like being like mainstream media, basketball. Sometimes like I feel like baseball has probably been more in the mainstream than hockey was. But it felt like that whole tournament, especially when USA and Canada was playing, like they were like international news. Like so many people saw the fights that happened between Canada, US, and then so many people like watched that game. Like in Canada, like everyone's gonna tune in. Like there's never gonna be that problem here, but in the States, like it's not the number one sport. It's as simple as that, and like it's tournaments like that make this the best sport, but also the worst league, the worst run league, and how it took almost 10 years to figure it out. Like we sound like broken records, but that's because it's true. Like
Yeah. It's the fucking reality, bro. Like the only positive to come out of the 2018 Olympics, because no one was there, was that we all got to see Kirill Kaprizov. Like I think on our
And like
I
Team
think-
Germany almost upset Russia, but that's because no other teams were like there was no NHL players there.
yeah, it's a joke. And next year's gonna be chills. I think there's no other way to put it. Milan is going to be the most talked about thing the NHL has done in God knows how long. The talent is going to be as deep as it's ever been, I think. I think teams like Canada and the USA did their tinkering, and they're going to know what to bring next time.
Tom
I
Wilson,
surely hope so.
woo!
Like, no bullshit, they should bring Tom Wilson. Like, if you're going to, like, dude, you're telling me he's not better than Sam Bennett? Come on now.
Hey,
Bennett
come on, he
in the
scored
goal-
the game tying goal. Come on.
Okay, you know what?
The two future Blackhawks contributing on that goal, Magic
Oh, I
Mitchie
don't
Marner
want
and Sam Bennett.
I don't want Sam Bennett. He's getting like $7 million on the open market. I don't want him.
Bro,
I don't
he's
need
getting-
Anders
He's getting at least the Chandler Stevenson contract. Like he might get 7 times
Dude,
that.
he's gonna get overpaid by the Leafs, and I can't fucking wait.
Let's go, Brad Tree. Tree Van Jillian.
Yo, you want to hear the craziest stat I've ever heard?
Let's hear it.
So, third player, Brandon Hagel just made history. He's the third
yeah?
player in NHL history to get 30 goals without a single power play goal. That's fucking
my
nuts.
God. Oh my god.
Oh,
It's as crazy as the players that Ryan Donato scored more even strength goals then.
yeah, like, what, McDavid, McKinnon, like, oh,
Matthews,
Lord.
I think. Hang on, I'm gonna look it up. You know who USA could have used in that overtime? Right.
No, Team USA needed Matthews to finish like any of those A+ chances he
Bro.
had in overtime. Matthews literally
Like-
could have made his legacy in that overtime. It's so
He was
ridiculous.
the best player, like, and not even
Yes.
close. Like,
He got both assists on the goals, and he was
Mhm.
playing with the Kachuk brother. That was a fucking pylon that whole time.
Yeah, and I know everyone was like, I can't believe they scratched Kyle Connor for Chris Kreider. To me, like the bigger thing was that, and obviously you can't, like, a coach like has to trust their player that they're good to go, but like obviously hindsight, I would have just not played Matthew Tkachuk because he was basically a cheerleader. Austin Matthews, like, to me, that game best encapsulate hockey. You got two of the best, like the best rivalry in international hockey going at it. It's a close game. No team ever led by 2 goals. Canada went up 1-0 with Nathan McKinnon, and then 2 of the Senators scored, Brady Tkachuk and Jake Sanderson. And to me, like, if the US scored and made it 3-1, like, that's game over. It's game over, man. Like, they're not like, it's gonna be basically just a repeat of the last game. But then
Bennington kept him in the game. Just continues to hang on to that.
that's what I mean. Like, Austin Matthews' 2 assists was incredible. The whole game got robbed like 3 times of
In
Jordan
overtime.
Binnington, and he misses his assignment once on Connor McDavid, and he got the goal. And like on the other end of things, Connor McDavid, kind of a so-so game in a so-so tournament. Again, we hold him to such a high standard, but all we're going to remember is Connor McDavid scored the goal and Austin Matthews wasn't covering McDavid, even though Matthews was the better player that game. And same goes for the goaltending. Like, Connor Hellebuyck is the better goalie, but like Jordan Binnington made the saves when it matters. A lot of the times it's timing in hockey and sports in general. So
It's always timing. It's being in the right
Mhm.
place at the right time, and that's what ends up happening. Is you could suck all game, but if you can make that one shot, that's the difference maker. That's the reality.
And yeah, Magic Mitchie Marner exercising some demons in TD Garden, 2 assists. I need him. I love Mitch Marner now. I need him on the Hawks so bad. Like,
Glad you finally come
I-
around to the hype train.
I've always liked
the
Mitch
night we
Marner
drafted
though. I
Marner.
just think he needs to get out of Toronto, but maybe he works something out with them now. I don't know.
God, I need him in Chicago more than I need Air. You want to talk about making Lardis a 30-goal scorer? That'll be the guy that can help with that. For sure. You want to talk about a guy that would make the penalty kill disgusting? Him and Nazar on the penalty kill? Good night.
Oh my god.
Good luck. Good luck. Like, good luck. 8 years of that as your top penalty killing unit.
That's like the Panthers when they send Barkov and Reinhardt out there.
They're just like, yeah, just try. Go ahead and try. Also, Barkov just scored a banger, bro. Like, tightrope the blue line, just ripped it off the left circle. It's gross.
Seth Jones assist?
Absolutely not. Wasn't even on the ice. Let's go check his minutes. Let's go check the mins. How many mins has he played? Oh, he's third on the team in minutes. He's actually like one shift behind Ekblad and Forsling.
Yeah.
So he's going to play like 22 probably a night. It's good for him. But,
Dude, he's still going to get a lot of minutes. Like,
yeah, I think at the end of the day, like, you don't see minute-eating defensemen like that available at the deadline. So good on Florida. Like I said, good on Florida for getting someone who can play those big minutes and has done it in the playoffs too. The guy played over an hour one time against the Lightning. Pretty good.
And he hasn't had that chance to do that in 5 years, and now he's on the team that's has gone to 2 straight Stanley Cup Finals and won a cup last year.
Facts.
All right, do you got anything else to talk about? Again, today we were going to do like our trades we wanted to see, but we'll save that for tomorrow. We're going to be interviewing Will Scouch tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to that. I just want to hear more about this draft because I know the top 4, and that's really about it. Like, I think Frundell and Eklund I'm familiar with, but other than that, And from everything I'm hearing, I don't think it's that great of a draft.
Yeah, it's not last or 2 years ago, that's for sure.
Yeah, which is why you should trade those first-round picks and get some immediate help.
Ooh, get excited.
Do you think the Blackhawks do it? Like, obviously, the Seth Jones trade will be the biggest move they make, but do you think they? I think they trade Donato. What do you think they get for Donato? Because here's what I think. I don't think he's going to get a first, but I think with Ryan Donato, I think they're going to get a conditional second that can turn into a first if like a team goes on a deep playoff run. That's what I think could happen. Because teams love versatility and like a hardworking player, and he's scoring like he might hit 30 and 30. I think he could get that.
Find a trade partner that can get you a roster piece. That's my only 2 cents. You're going to be able to trade with a contender with him. He makes $2 million. Like $2 million for 60 points, anyone will pay that. I think that's where the value comes from. That's why Hagel got 2 firsts a couple years ago. That's why Barclay Goodrow got a first-round pick. Like, the cap hit matters. And I keep going back to Edmonton. He'd fit perfectly in that bottom 6. Team like Tampa, he'd fit like a glove in that bottom 6.
Isaac Howard, bring him to us.
They're not getting Isaac Howard.
No, they're not. Connor Geeky,
yeah, like
fine,
find a team where you could get a roster player for that. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's not a first round pick. Maybe it's a piece that can help you. Whether it's like, and I think that's harder to be done than just picks. So
yeah,
you try to get that first, whether it's 2-3 years down the line, and then go from there.
Hear me out. I don't think they're trading Connor Murphy because I think they need a veteran presence, especially on their right side. But what if because the Columbus Blue Jackets are fighting for a playoff spot right now, what if you trade Donato and I don't know if you trade a first, maybe a second, and take a flyer on Cole Sillinger?
I don't think the Jackets trade Cole Sillinger, but that would be the funniest trade on earth. Oh my god!
You get rid of Seth Jones and then you
get Cole Sillinger back. Let's just turn the clock back and pretend like that trade never happened, guys. Could
you imagine if the Panthers didn't put Boqvist on waivers and they would have Jones and Boqvist on the same team?
Holy shit! I didn't even think about that. I hate this. I hate this so much. God, Stan Bowman still haunts my fucking days and nights. I know terrible. But yeah, I think we can wrap it up there on that distasteful final note. Shout out Fortnite starting in 5 minutes.
I was telling you this, I was thinking about podcast name for the trade. I was thinking Fort Lauderdale because that's where the Panthers play in that Seth Jones number. But he's wearing number 3, so that one worked out.
Number 3.
So,
The
anywho,
amount
do you have
or the
any
nu-
closing notes, or we can wrap this up?
Nah, I'm all good there.
Oh, and by the
I-
way, if Gustav Nyquist is worth a second, I think Brian Donato can be worth a second too. Anyway,
I think it just proves that Ryan Donato's worth the first, but that's just my whole thing.
That's
And,
what-
like,
that's what I
Kevin
mean, like,
Weeks
he's
dropped
at-
that bomb. He's got interest, so like you can literally leverage Donato's
That's-
interest.
that's what I mean. There's going to be so many teams. There's not a lot of selling teams. Like the Blackhawks would want to move on from. There's going to be a bunch of teams
Donato's
interested.
a damn good selling piece.
He's got the positional versatility. He's got the work ethic. Like it would not surprise me if they like got a first of some kind out of it.
So there's a couple
then
teams
again-
that are interested in him, and one of them was New Jersey. And like,
That's interesting right now.
I
with,
need to
what
deep
happened
dive.
with Jackie.
Yeah, now they really need it because Hughes died on the ice last night. God, that was terrifying. Just casually lost their top scorer going into the playoffs. And while everyone's saying he got knocked out, that's 100% a clavicle injury. That's literally the Patrick Kane injury from 2015. He just ended up hitting his head as well. So might have a concussion too, but that's not great to say the least. But they do need an offensive piece then. I don't know what they're going to give up in that case. That's
Simon
why I
Nemec,
kinda want-
woo!
Dude, holy
Let's
shit.
go.
That's never like trade for Simon Nemec in the offseason. Let's get crazy. Let's get spicy. But Paul Cotter to Troll Rose.
And we get Cole Smith from Nashville. Get excited.
Oh my god.
Here's Bedard's line mates for next year. Woo!
I'm trying to Okay, I got one.
Let's hear it.
I know Toronto's been sniffing around Donato. Who's to say we can't get Nick Robertson for him?
Yeah, he scored against us the other night.
Twice.
Yeah.
No, but the guy requested a trade. He's got value. He's 23. On pace for he's been a 20 goal average his whole career.
That's great. He's had so many injuries if that's the case.
Dude, I'd take a flyer on him for a
Mhm.
guy that you're
That's
probably
what
not
they
going to
need to do.
re-sign. And Toronto doesn't have picks, so they can't trade you picks. That might be the move right there. Honestly. Nick Robertson and like a third or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably take that.
I'll fuck with that.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. I think Mrazek gets moved for like a fifth. Some team's gonna need him.
If they
So-
get a fifth out of Mrazek, like again, bravo to Kyle Davidson. Like you can be critical about Kyle Davidson, and like we don't agree with everything he's done, but all in all, I think he's got this team on the right path. And to me, like that was a huge moment. That trade, like he could have buckled, and there could have been a scenario where like they had to retain half and didn't get, and maybe got like a mid-round pick back just to get rid of Seth Jones. But no, you got Spencer Knight, and you got a first-round pick. And by the way, in the Central Division, a division that has Connor Hellebuck in it, UC Saros, Minnesota has Jesper Wallstedt and Philip Gustafson. I feel like I'm missing a couple other goals.
Jake Ottinger.
Yeah, there you go, Jake Ottinger. Now you got Spencer Knight and Arvid Soderblom.
Imagine telling someone that a year ago.
I know. That's the thing with goaltending, man. Coming into the year, Mrazek and Brossoit, and now you're going to end off the year with Knight and Soderblom, and we're going to get to see him play in a few minutes. So, yeah, we should really wrap this up now. Kyle Davidson, you got all these assets in the world, man. Like, it's time to start buying and building this team up. Like, drafting's good and all, but I feel like in like a year or two, they're just going to have an excess of like bottom pairing guys like Alan Kaiser. You're gonna have to trade one of those guys, and you're gonna have like Paul Lewinsky's, Ryan Greens in your bottom six. Like you gotta capitalize on the value.
You
and
gotta
get some-
spend some to get some, as they always
Mhm.
say.
Yes, sir. Anywho, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Give us a 5-star rating on your preferred podcast platform, whether that's Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Google, whatever the hell it's on. If you're watching our beautiful faces on YouTube, be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new podcast or clips from the podcast. So yeah, we'll have Will Scouch on the podcast tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to that, to really get an in-depth look at the draft and also do some mock trades afterwards and talk more about the NHL. So yeah, for Piers and Dylan, take it easy, y'all, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.